now. Obviously, it's an illegal activity because I need to take the permission of yours before starting the recording. लाइफ में कुछ तो इलीगल करते हैं, कोई बात नहीं, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Okay, may I have the confirmation again that I'm properly audible? I'm sharing my screen to all of you now. Anyone can give me a confirmation, please? Thank you very much, Mr. Rahul. Thank you, Mr. Ayaz. Good, Ayushi. Thank you. Let's move ahead. So sharing my screen. Last time around, we had started the lecture, and after 30 to 35 minutes, one person said that the screen is not visible. Oh my God. I said, I have done lot many calculations, and you are saying now that screen is not visible. Fine, no worries. That's fine. That happens. क्या हो गया था? पोपट हो गया था सर का. बहुत बड़ा पोपट हो गया था. Okay, I hope my screen is visible now. So these are the various functions, which are the finance functions, which will help you to sort out various queries of the finance aspects, Now, if you'll be doing it manually, it will be hell, too much time consuming. So that's why I had taken the suggestions of you people that what kind of a learning you want, whether the formula based learning you require, or you want the practical situation to be covered, but along with the help of Excel, we'll be solving those practical situations. So two approaches we had, right? And you people had selected that, sir, we want to take it conceptually, and the calculations we want to do it in Excel. And here the Excel will be simplifying the calculations a lot for you. If we'll be doing it manually, I tell you that's going to be very, very complicated because hell many formulas will be referred. And I do not want to go into theoretical understanding of these functions. Please, we will be taking the practical situations, scenarios, and in that, how to apply that function. That's it. So the entire orientation is from the practical perspective. So from the next lecture onward, you will be bringing the laptop, right? Good. So let me go to the time value of money. If I give you the brief idea about that, we had started last time around. So it's basically the difference between the compounding interest and the simple interest, which makes your return the insurmountables. If you want the gigantic return, then invest it in a compounding manner. Right in the first lecture as well, I had said that we knew that how to save the money. That was there in the genes of the Indian people. But we didn't know that there is something called compounding as well. We should not keep that savings idle. It must be invested somewhere. It makes sense only if it is invested somewhere. Otherwise, the idle money which is saved in money in the paper currency loses its value over a period of time because of the inflation and because of the various factors. More and more, there would be a supply of the printing money in the economy of country. The money will lose its spine. As simple as that. So if the government decides that we want more printed money in the economy, whatever the money you have, which is not invested, will lose its value. Because now there is a more money circulated in the market. And because of the fact that there is a more money circulated in the market, people have got the high purchasing power, my dear friends. And because of the fact that people have got the high purchasing power, the prices of the goods and commodities will increase. You are losing your money if you are not investing it. And one more thing, we tell to the people that please ensure that your rate of return from the investment, rate of return from the investment should always be more than at least the inflation rate. Because that's the Mongwari rate. And if you are unable to cover even the Mongwari rate, what's the meaning of any investment, my dear friends? Let's take this example. Say if you have 100 rupees right now and there is an inflation rate, and that inflation rate is, say, for example, 10%. So now there would be 110, right? So what's the meaning of this 110? Try to understand. Whatever the commodities and services you are purchasing from this 100 rupees, goods, commodities, services, all such sort of things which you are purchasing from the 100 rupees for the same amount of services, for the same amount of goods, for the same amount of commodities, you will have to pay now 110. So effectively 100 rupees is no more 100 rupees now. It has lost its value. Now, if you take the return of 12%, say 100 rupees you had invested and return was 12%, that means you have got the interest or some other dividend or some other sort of a return which is 12%. So you have 112 as a fund value in your bank account. Try to understand, your effective return is not 12. This is not your effective return. Your effective return, my dear fellas, is just 2 rupees. And let's take the another scenario where, say, if the inflation rate remains 10%, and if you are investing somewhere in the fixed deposit which is giving you just 7 to 8% of the return, my dear fellas and fellies, you are effectively in the loss. 108% you get on the fixed deposit, your fund value will be 108. And if the inflation rate is 10%, which is the Mongwari rate, that means महंगाई का दर 10% है सर. 100 रुपए की वैल्यू, 100 रुपए की में जितनी चीजें हम लेते थे उसके लिए अब हमें 110 रुपए पे करने पड़ेंगे. तो मैं यहां पे प्रॉफिट में हूं ही नहीं. So it should be at least more than the inflation rate. That is also another advice which we give to the people when they are seeking for seeking the advice for their portfolio management. Now, at this time where there is a high inflation rate, no, these are very practical advices I'm giving to you. When the inflation rates are too high, at that time, you should not invest much of your money in the fixed interest bearing securities. Fixed interest bearing securities. You invest in the government bonds, it's a fixed interest bearing security. You invest in the fixed deposit, it's a fixed interest bearing security. You invest in the public provident fund, it's a fixed interest bearing security. When there is a high inflation rate, 8 to 9% of the inflation is there in the market, then at that time your portfolio should not go much into this, because when the fixed interest bearing securities are there, no, at that time the interest rates are always going to be less. And if everyone will start thinking in the same manner, then what will happen? That we should not invest right now in the fixed interest bearing securities. Then people will go to the equity markets in the same scenarios. And if so many people will start thinking like this, then equity market will go up irrationally high. So it has also been observed in the past that whenever there was a high inflation rate, no, equity markets were at the irrationally high levels. So what is the takeaway from this is that, sir, our rate of interest shall be at least more than the inflation rate prevailing in the market. I do not want to go into the technical jargons of economics right now because that's not the requirement of this subject. But at least we should be aware that what's the inflation rate and what is the rate of return we are going to get from the security. I hope that's pretty much clear to everyone now. Okay, so these are the various functions we are going to do. Last time around, I had started that you will have to first identify that whether you are investing only for the one sort, I mean, that's the lump sum kind of an investment. And if it is a lump sum kind of an investment, then there would be a different formula. So we'll go to such examples. And this is entirely the calculation of the compounding return. And you have understood the difference between the compounding and simple interest now, right? In the last lecture. So now, first you identify whether it is a single or it's an annuity. So whether it is a single cash flow, now say if you are investing in the fixed deposit, straight away you are putting 10 lakhs of money. Now that's the single lump sum investment. Say you are going to the mutual fund and you want to say that, sir, I want to invest 15 lakhs rupees straight away right now. That's a lump sum investment, single cash flow. But there is also a possibility that you may invest in parts. And that is what the financial advisors suggest to the people. I had also told you in the last lecture, last to last lecture, that if it is possible, try to build the marginal propensity to save. I'm using the words very carefully. Marginal propensity to save. It's a good sign for the economy that if people are involved in marginal propensity to save, if they are putting some savings on a gradual basis, on a continuous basis, on a regular basis, that's better for the economy, because that helps to channelize the money from the people who have excess to the people who need it. Marginal propensity to save. Invest it, a small amount of money, धीरे धीरे सरोवर भराए, टीपे टीपे सरोवर भराए. There was a very good story about one mother and son, and that is also a practical experience of mine. I have seen that. My uncle was there. ગુજરાતીમાં આપણે માસા કહીએ, ઇંગ્લિશમાં તો બધાને અંકલ જ કહેવાય, એટલે કોઈ એમાં ડિફરન્સિએશન જ નથી. Now that uncle was staying in one small village near to Talala. You must have heard about Haripur, which comes in the Gir forest. Haripur, in the middle of the Gir forest, over there. Obviously he was, he was doing well over there, but that was a very small village, so he did not have too much of savings at that time, and there was a marriage of his daughter which was due just in a few months, and he did not have much amount of money at that time. I'm taking the example of the marriage of the daughter, but that does not mean I'm a male Patrick. Even if there is a marriage of son, you will have to save, because anyway nowadays the expenses are occurred by both the parties, right? So now if he do not have the money, he was very much stuck. He was like, I need to either borrow this money from somewhere, or I need to sell my 1 week of land, because he did not have much amount of savings at that time. Then my masi, my aunt, came suddenly and said that I was putting 100 rupees on daily basis in a post office account since last 8 to 10 years. So let's see that how much of money we have over there. And he suddenly got 8 to 10 lakhs rupees from there. He was even not aware about it, so 100 rupees on daily savings makes a lot of difference, because if you will be investing 2 lakhs rupees on a single slot, no, it would be pinching you. But if something it's been cut from your income on a gradual basis for which you are not even aware about, it will be making a huge amount of difference after some point of time, and you realize this only after 8 to 10 years. Can you imagine that kind of a that happiness, that suddenly you have got 8 to 10 lakhs rupees which you are starving to get? You did not have any other options left other than selling your piece of a land, and you suddenly get 8 to 10 lakhs rupees which will be solving your entire purpose. રોજના 100 રૂપિયા દેખાય નહીં. So that's the habit we should make, and that's called the annuity. When you invest in a bits and pieces, that's an annuity, right? So there are various types of annuity. Let's see the types of annuity. Okay, so there could be an annuity due. I'm taking just an example, and then there can be ordinary annuity. Then there can be, say, annuity with continuous compounding. And there can be deferred annuity. So I'm going to take the examples of all four. Do not worry. Now say if this is an annuity due, the simple meaning of annuity due is that you are investing, but you are investing at the beginning of that period. Say you have taken monthly period and you are investing on every month, but you are investing at the beginning of the month. And if you are investing at the beginning of the month, now period can be, the month, it can be quarterly, it can be 6 monthly, it can be yearly, it can be daily too. Yes, it's possible, it's daily too. And higher compounding frequency you have, it's better and better for you. More and more compounding frequency you have, better and better is for you. Like, you must understand, being a finance student, that 10% compounded per annum is not equal to 10% compounded semi-annual basis. It is also not equal to 10% compounded quarterly basis. It is not equal to 10% compounded monthly basis. Higher and higher frequency you have, more and more benefits of compounding you get. More and more benefits of compounding you get. So very simple formula. If I give you the single transaction formula, say if you are investing for the 1 lakh rupees right now, and you get 10% of return, that the same example we take, then if the compounding frequency is being changed, no, then how your return is varying. So the very simple formula is PV multiplied by 1 plus R raised to N. PV stands for the present value of money, which is the amount of investment in this case, right? So let me just do the calculation here. So 1 lakh rupees, that's going to be my PV multiplied by 1 plus R. R is going to be my 0.10. And if I put raised to 1, right? So I have got 1 lakh 10,000. But if my compounding frequency is semi-annual, then how I'll be doing? I'm just copying that formula. Now here in this case, instead of R, I would be putting R divided by 2, right? Because there are 2 semi-annuals coming in a 1 year. So R divided by 2, my dear friends, would be 0.05. And the total number of compounding periods will be 2 instead of 1. So when the different compounding frequency is given to you, you should put it in the back of your mind that R must be divided by the compounding frequency and number of periods must be multiplied by the compounding frequency. When I say semi-annual, that means in a year you have 2 6 months, right? That's why I'm putting raised to 2. Pressing enter, you have 1 1 0 250. So say 10% semi-annually is giving you more return. Now let me copy this further. Now if it is a quarterly one, that means I'll have to divide 0.10 by 4, right? Why by 4? Because in a year we have 4 quarters. And I'll have to multiply 1 year with 4. So that's nothing but 4 only. Because in a year you have 4 quarters. Just a second, please. .025 I'm using. Excel is giving some error. Do not worry, that will be sorted out. Okay, so that's coming at 110,381. And if I do it annually, that means I'll have to divide 10% by 12. So 0.10 divided by 12 and raised to would be 12. So that time it goes to 110,471. And if it goes daily, you will get more. So 10% per annum is not equal to 10% monthly basis if the compounding frequencies are different. Because in every month, if it is a kind monthly, in every month you are getting some amount of money which is being added in your fund. It is again being reinvested. Then for the second month, you get the interest on first month's money plus first month interest. So more and more compounding frequency you have, better and better amount you have, right? So that's put it in the back of your mind, please. Some of the basic fundas I'm clearing right now because I know that people might not be very much aware about it. And you should compare your rates, because when you go to the fixed deposits, you see such kind of a rates. I have observed that, and people are unable to identify the difference between the two. They give you the various options. Say if you are investing for 5 years, in a fixed deposit, then they will tell you that say we're giving 7% of the interest if you follow the per annum compounding frequency. We would give you 6.9% of the interest if your compounding frequency will be, say, semi-annually. And we will give you 6.85% if your compounding frequency is quarterly. So you got to compare these 3 rates and you got to see that where you get the maximum amount of money. They give you the options. Please go through those compounding frequencies, find the future value, and whatever is the most suitable to you, select that option in the fixed deposit. Okay. So there is an annuity due. What's the very simple meaning of annuity due? That means, sir, we are investing at the beginning of the period. And period can be quarterly, it can be semi-annually, it can be yearly, it can be monthly, it can be daily too. So the timeline looks like this. Say Miss Krina wants to invest to get a car of her choice after say 5 years, and she got inspired by the Ronak sir's lecture, no, and she was like, sir, now I will be making the investments, and after 5 years I require some amount of money, and I would be investing on monthly basis now. So she's starting right now. So how many total number of months would be there in the 5 year? 5 multiplied by 12, so that's gonna be 60 months, right? So in every month she is going to invest something. Now that must be constant. Then only you can call it an annuity. That means you are investing 2000 on a monthly basis. That's an annuity. And if, see, this is the period of 1 month. If you are investing at this point, then it's a due. If you are investing at this point for the very first time, then it's an ordinary. That means you are investing at the end of the period. So obviously, sir, when we invest at the end of the period, we get the interest for less number of periods, right? And when you are investing at the beginning, sir, you get the interest for that month too. Say in the first month we take. In the first month, if you are investing at the beginning of the first month, then you get the interest of the first month as well. But if you invest at the end of the first month, my dear friends, you do not get the interest for the first month. So that's why these two annuities are different. And that's why the formulas are also little different. I hope that's pretty much clear to you. May I have the confirmation from the students that we are absolutely clear till now, so that I can move ahead, please. A chotu sa confirmation, please, all of you. Okay, Miss Roshni has given, Miss Khushi has given as well. Good. Miss Ayushi too. Very good. Mr. Rahul, Miss Kanvi. Good. Thank you very much. So that I do not go into the FOMO zone, fear of missing out. मैं ही चकेला बोल रहा हूँ, कोई मेरे को भाविच नहीं दे रहा है, वैसा नहीं लगना चाहिए सर को. Let's move ahead. Then there is something called deferred annuity. Deferred annuity. Now, how this deferred annuity works? Let me just give you the example. Have you heard about? And let's take example. Say, right. You must have heard that there are some of the parents, who wants to start planning for the education of their children right now. But right now they do not want to invest. But after some point of time, they would be investing it. Say, if I give you a very simple example, say if Kanvi is there, now Kanvi wants to invest 1000 rupees on a monthly basis, but she will start after 5 years. And she wants to know that after 12 years, what will be the fund value or the future value? So the timeline looks like this. So say this is the period of 12 years. This is the end of the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. So till this point of time, she is not going to invest anything. She will start investing from the first month of the sixth year. So that's gonna be, say here we have 7 years, right, for this period. So she'll be investing on a monthly basis for this many number of years. So in totality, if you say 7 years multiplied by 12, so she is going to invest for 84 months. Some people will be like, sir, what is 1284? I'm sorry, I'm a Gujarati medium student, that's why. हमारे mathematical calculations अभी भी गुजराती में ही होते हैं. So 84 months she will be investing. Now this is called deferred annuity, my dear friends, because there is a deferment period. And if you want to know that what will be the fund value at this point, which is going to be the end of the 12th year, then you will be applying the deferred annuity fundamentals, because here you are not getting interest for this 5 years at all. This is this period for which you are not investing. No, that is called deferment period. Deferment period. That's the deferred annuity. Now you can also think about it from the perspective of the loan. Try to understand that as well. We are going to see the practical examples of it. Say you are taking the educational loans. Just a second, I'm just putting my plug charger over there. The battery is low, I'm sorry. Good. So the battery is low, and am I audible or what? Or my screen is visible or not? These are going to be the day-to-day dialogues nowadays, you know. और उसमें कहीं फिर वो श्वेता जैसा भी हो जाता है, कोई म्यूट करना भूल जाता है. Okay, so you can think from the perspective of the loan as well. How? Just check it out. Now you should not consider this time value of money only from the perspective of investment. Huh? If you take it from the perspective of investment, no, that means you'll making the cash outflow over here, which is your, you know, investment. In investment, you give some money, and the future value will be your cash inflow. So you'll be receiving some money. You are investing some money, you will be receiving some money. And you will be receiving after the end of this. So future value is the cash inflow. And the amount of investment you are making, no, are the cash outflow. But this happens exactly in reverse when it is a loan. You must have heard about the educational loans, right? So if you take the educational loan for your PG and you want to go, say, in a Harvard University, and you must have heard that the installment payment does not happen instantly. You know, you will be paying the installments after some period of time. So say if you go to the job and then you start earning some amount of money, you will start paying the installments. So if there is a deferred annuity in the educational loan, you are not going to pay the installments right now, but after some year you will be paying. So right after the completion of your graduation, if you go to the Harvard University and say your MBA will take 3 years to get complete, it gets 2 years to get complete, but your loan installments will start after 3 years. And say you have taken loan and entire loan needs to be paid in 10 years from now. Then what happens? For the first 3 years, you're not going to pay any interest, right? Any installment, no installment. No, interest is going to be there, I'm sorry, but installment will not be paid. So you have taken some loan over here, which is going to be the present value. Because loan is always been taken in present, right? As simple as that. You take some loan over here, then you will be starting the installment payment after the end of the 3 years, and you will be making the installments for 7 years, say on monthly basis. Now that's a deferred annuity. That's a deferred annuity. So annuity is not just from the perspective of the investment. It is also from the perspective of the loan. So what happens in the loan? First you get the cash inflow. This is your inflow. And then outflow will start taking place in terms of installment. This is going to be your cash outflow. So first you get the money and you pay the installments. In investment, what was happening? You were making the installments, which was the cash outflow, and you were receiving some amount of money after some period of time, say after the 12 years, and that will be your cash inflow. And the exact reverse happens in the loan as well. So you can apply the deferred annuity concept and fundamental in the loan as well. And if someone asks you that, say, you will be making the payment of installment of 10,000 on a monthly basis, you know, for 7 years, but the first installment will start at the beginning of the 4th year, right? This is the beginning of the 4th year. Because obviously you haven't got the job yet, you will be going to the Harvard, you'll be studying it, and once you get the placement, you will start making the payment of your educational loans. So what is the amount of loan you have taken here? From this, can you find the present value on here? And if you want to find the present value which you have taken, the loan is been taken right now only, no? Because you are going to the Harvard right now. You have taken the money right now. You will be making the payment of money right now. What's the value of the loan right now? This is the deferred annuity, as simple as that. I hope that's pretty much clear to everyone now. So every kind of an annuity can be thought from the perspective of the investment as well, and it can be thought from the perspective of loan as well. And that is applicable to ordinary and the due annuities too. Very simple meaning is that you have some deferment period. That's why you call it the deferred annuity. As simple as that. Fine, let's move ahead. Then there can be a continuous compounding as well. Continuous compounding. So you got to understand the meaning of this continuous compounding first of all. See, if I give you a very simple example, try to understand. Now, if I give you the number of months, you can apply the compounding formula and you can find the future value. But there are no number of periods only, then what? I'm not saying you that your compounding will take place on monthly basis, or it will take place on 6 monthly basis, or it will take place on yearly basis. No. I'm just telling you that for the 5 years I want to invest, and compounding will take place on continuous basis. Continuous basis. And now what is this continuous? After a month, you may say that, sir, on a daily basis there would be a compounding. After a day, you can say that, sir, on an hourly basis there would be a compounding. For every hour, the compounding will take place. For that means you will get the interest for every hour. Your future value will be increased, and for the next hour you will again get the interest. For the third hour, you again get the interest, and compounding is taking place on hourly basis. But hour is also a time frame, right? It is not continuous. Then someone will go, sir, the compounding will take place on seconds basis. Now seconds is also something which is a time frame, not continuous in nature. Second can be there in a microseconds, milliseconds. So there is no time frame which defines the continuous compounding. So the basic nature over here of the compounding is that it is continuous in nature and number of periods are not given. Number of periods are not given. You cannot even find the number of periods because number of periods are infinite in nature. Yes, you are going to invest it for the 5 years. That's fine, 5 years. But in 5 years, whether you will take the compounding for year or for semi-annual or for quarter or for a month or for a second or for a hour, you do not know that. That's why it's a continuous compounding in nature. Now it's a bit of a more theoretical in nature. Frankly speaking, I haven't seen the investment avenues which are giving you the compounding kind of a return till now. I haven't seen those kind of investments yet. But yes, compounding, continuous compounding is used in some of the advanced concepts of the finance, specifically in the derivative market. While we are valuing the shares, while we are valuing the businesses, at that time the continuous compounding has been taken into account for finding the present value or the future value. But I hope you got my question that 5 years is given to you. But see, 5 years must be multiplied by the compounding frequency as well. No, if it is monthly, you can multiply that with 12 and you get 60 periods. You apply the formula, you get the answer. If it is 6 monthly, you multiply that with 2. If it is quarterly, you multiply that with 4. But you do not have any periods only right now in this case. So at that time, my dear friends, you apply the exponential factor. Bit theoretical in nature, but since it is a part of the annuity, I'll be taking care right now, because I do not want to leave it. So compound exponential factor is something which is also called as E. So you must have seen certain graphs, exponential graphs nowadays in Corona. So what happens, that number of periods are continuously increasing. Say you take 6 months, then it goes to quarter, then it goes to month, then it goes to hours, and then it goes to seconds, then it goes to microseconds. The number of periods will be too high. So this is how the graph looks like for the number of periods. You can divide the period into so many infinite time zones, no? So the formula is very simple. Exponential factor multiplied by the present value. And exponential factor के raise to में power में you would be putting R and T. R stands for the rate of interest and T stands for the number of years. Number of years for which you are going to invest, that is given to us. But compounding frequency is not given to us. It is continuous in nature. Continuous. So what's the meaning of continuous, sir? Continuous का कोई meaning ही नहीं है. That's why we take the maximum compounding, and maximum compounding is nothing but the exponential factor. So PV multiplied by E raised to RT, you get the FV. This is the case when there is a single cash flow. So you are investing only for the one time. For annuity, it's going to be different. I'll tell you. We are going to anyway do this in the Excel. So I'm not going to go into much of, the theoretical and formula base. Anyway, you are not supposed to go into that. So there can be an annuity with the continuous compounding. You have got it conceptually, right? And deferred annuity as well, I have clarified. So these are the 4 types of annuity. You can think from the perspective of investment, and you can also think from the perspective of loan. When it is an investment, that means you are making the outflow first and you receive the inflow after some time. When it is a loan, you receive the inflow first and outflow will be made in the terms of payments, installments. So whether it is inflow or outflow, how does it matter to the mathematics? Mathematics calls it an annuity only, right? You have said that it's an inflow and outflow from your perspective. For the bank, it's the loan. For the bank, the loan is outflow, right? For you, it's an inflow. So anyway, whether it is inflow or outflow, that's a different sort of a matter. So you can think from the perspective of investment or from the loan, but the fundamentals remains the same. That is annuity, ordinary, annuity due, annuity with the continuous compounding, where the number of periods are not given to you. You take the exponential factor, and there can be annuity with the deferment period. I hope that's pretty much clear to everyone. So I have clarified the annuity conceptually, and you have got the idea what are the different types of annuity. So from the next lecture, we would go to straight away the tasks. We'll take few examples and how we can find it, how we can use it for the asset management, how we can use it for the better planning, how we can use it to channelize our cash inflows and outflows in the future. So that's gonna be the discussion in the next session. So may I have the confirmation till now that you have got everything? And if you have any queries or questions, please let me know, my dear friends. मैं अंतर्यामी नहीं हूं, सर बाबा नहीं है, ज्योतिष शास्त्र पढ़ के नहीं आए हैं। तो सर को ऐसे देख के मालूम नहीं पड़ जाता कि यही है बच्चों के क्वेश्चंस। Yes, Kanvi, I have uploaded one video lecture already. One is about to be done. Last one is pending, and this one is also will be done by end of the day. Don't worry. So today you have got the types of annuities, right, everyone? There should not be any conceptual lagging behind from your side when it comes to the annuities in the next lecture. So Excel calculations will going to be there. And my humble submission again that you should bring the laptop so that we'll be able to do it fluently. Okay, so that's it from my side. As a part of your attendance, please put your enrollment number into the chat box, and see you all in the next session, please. Bye-bye, take care, sayonara, enjoy the rest of the day. Please put your enrollment number.